Hi, my name is Abby, and I'll be demonstrating how a user would personalize their treadmill workout through my redesign of the control panel. So let's say that a treadmill with this control panel is in a gym, and someone hops onto that treadmill. The first thing they will see is this interface here, where you can see some familiar controls like the start and stop buttons and information like real-time data. Then below that, we have some settings such as these two sliders that the user can use to adjust the speed and incline. The reason as to why I use sliders is so that the user can easily adjust the speed and incline by simply moving the values up and down, as opposed to traditional treadmills where you have to long press a button to change those values. I use these plus and minus buttons for adjusting the time as opposed to sliders because there isn't any maximum value for adding time to the workouts. The speed and incline have maximum values, but time here is basically unlimited. And here we have the time duration for the user's workout, as well as the start and stop buttons to start and stop a treadmill. At the bottom is the hard-coded workout programs such as manual, which is the default options where the user has more control over the speed incline. There's also the hills option where it's as if the user is going repeatedly up and down a hill. And lastly, there is the random option where the incline is adjusted at random values throughout the workouts. If the user selects a workout program like random, then that option will be highlighted in green and the font will be more bold to indicate that it is selected as a form of feedback. The graph will also be updated to include those random inclines to show the user's workout progress. Also, at the top here is the warning message notifying the emergency clip closing before starting the treadmill. This here is a part of a value-sensitive design taking the user's safety into consideration. So this message here says that no user profile is selected. So to select a user profile, the user would have to press the Select User Profile button, and a side window will show up displaying a selection of user profiles. That window will sort of push the landing interface to the left and only shows settings, real-time data, and significant buttons here, which is still there so that the user is still able to control the workouts. In this side window, there are existing profiles for the user to select from, as well as a button to create a new user profile and a button to sync workout data from the user's phone to automatically generate a new user profile. We can press on an existing user profile, such as Twilight's, and then will display a form where you can see the user's demographics, fitness preferences, and other information. All of these inputs have numerical values that the user can either increase or decrease by pressing the plus and minus buttons on the right side of the input box. The disabilities input is there to involve equity in the design where a broader audience is involved. This dropdown would include common disabilities like where the system can increase its font size for those who have trouble reading, or it can have an option for hearing impairment where the system can provide more visual feedback such as light signals or indicators. There is also another option called authentication sets where the user can choose to lock their profile with a PIN. And this is also another form of value-sensitive design where privacy is a concern since some people may not want others to see their information. If the user option to yes, then they will be prompted to create that PIN to lock their accounts as shown here. And this is represented as a keypad since users are more familiar with entering PINs through keypads, whether it's by unlocking their phone or entering the PIN at the ATM, for example. But after setting that PIN, the user will be taken back to the form and most likely look at these buttons where they can select a user profile, personalizing their workouts, or they can just simply save the user profile if they made any changes to it without having to select it, or they can both select and save the user profile. And this option is there as a form of flexibility where they can perform two actions at once as opposed to performing each of these two actions by having to go back and forth between the form and the selection of profiles window. But if they were to select and save their profile, then they would be taken to this page. They would use this cancel button to close this window, or in other words, minimize, and then they will be taken back to this page here where they can see that the name of their user profile is shown to indicate that their user profile is selected, and a new message is shown, prompting the user to press the start button to start the personalized workout. And you can also notice that their goals set from their profile are shown here, as opposed to this interface where nothing is shown because no user profile. On the other hand, if the user decides to create a new user profile, then the same interface will show, except the form will have empty fields. However, many of the fields will be defaulted to certain values, such as the weight being defaulted to 165 pounds. And these default values are there to make it more convenient for users who don't want to spend too much. So once the user successfully creates a user profile, they get feedback that their user profile has been created, as shown here. And the new profile shows in a selection of profiles. If they try to unlock a profile whose authentication is set, then it will be prompted to enter the correct. But other than that, the user also has an option to sync their workout data from their phone to automatically generate a user profile. If they choose this option, then the first step they will see is to device to the system through Bluetooth. This is shown through a pop-up model, which will prompt the user to connect a Bluetooth device. And for consistency, this format is similar to Bluetooth device like AirPods to a phone, where a list of detected devices are shown, and the user can scroll down the list using the scroll bar to find the device and select that for connection. So once the user selects that and decides to connect that selected device, then the next step is to sync their fitness data. So once their Bluetooth device has been connected, then another pop-up model will user to sync their fitness data using a list of detected apps on their phone. And once the user selects an app to sync data from, they can click this button here to sync that data. And the next step they will see is a form of feedback informing them that the system is currently syncing their data. And once this is done, the user can either encounter a success message for the purpose of feedback, showing that the user has their workout data successfully synced and a profile has therefore been automatically created for them. If the workout data failed to sync, a message will appear telling the user that the process has failed, and most importantly, why it failed, for the purpose of better feedback. They would like to try syncing their data again. They can choose to either close the message and give up, or they can choose to try again by clicking the sync data button. If they choose to try again, then they will be taken back to the step where they choose which app to sync data from, as shown here. But in conclusion, this whole design aims to make treadmill workouts more user-friendly and customizable with clear feedback and intuitive, value-sensitive design into consideration.